Welcome to Doomsday T on DC, and this week in the DC Extended Universe news, I'm going to start out with Birds of Prey again because an interesting rumor has came out about that movie, and we've all heard it in bits and pieces about being like a five part movie series, but I guess just for like some clarification. It was listed that you had like Birds of Prey, and of course that's a 2020 release, and then The Suicide Squad, which is a 2021 release, and then you're going to have Gotham City Sirens, which will be a 2022 release, and then after that in 2023 you're going to have Suicide Squad 3. And to top it off, you're going to have Gotham City Sirens versus Birds of Prey, and that will be in 2024 if all goes as planned. These are cheap movies. Margot Robbie's star is huge, and like I said, the girl owns the Harlequin part. She just owns it. It's hers. And I love this. This could go a million different ways. We're liable to have Batman in these movies, Nightwing in these movies. By the time we get to a fifth movie in this Bat Family event, and Matt Reeves' Batman will be released, hopefully in 2021. That's the plan. And they keep revising the script. Perfectly fine. Revise it. Shine it up, have no problem with that. So, as much as I love DC and I love all the characters, I'm a Bat Family person. Whenever you take inventory of my books, especially of what I read, definitely a Bat Family person. But just a little bit of Birds of Prey news. Wanted to touch on that right off the bat. And in that same vein, we had Jared Leto. A guy was a big Leto fan, was interviewing him, and he asked him some pretty tough questions, or at least what he thought of the DC Extended Universe, and it's real funny, and I've said it, of course, on numerous podcasts at this point. People want to act like that the DC Extended Universe is some failure. And it's not. Monetarily, it's not. Yes, what Warner Brothers did with the Justice League and the cuts that were made and the way Zack was treated and his version was treated, that's the only thing that's a little bit dicey. And the movie we got might be a little bit generic or whatever. I don't want to say that. I love it, man. I love Steppenwolf as a villain. I thought it was brilliant to build up to Darkseid. But, this is, it's all good. Anyway, I want to go back to what Leto was saying. Like I said, they asked him about the DC Extended Universe, and he was like, he was saying how successful that it has been, and of course he said that he would definitely play Joker again, but he said, ask Jason Momoa in his $1 billion movie how successful that DC's been. Come on. Like I said, we're only maybe 7-8 movies in on these DC movies. So yeah, we might have got a Justice League early on, but now we're starting to get these solo movies, and every one of these solo movies, even going back to Man of Steel in 2013 or whatever it was, all the solo movies have made some killer money and has done well. And Suicide Squad did well. It kind of dropped off, whatever, but the first act of Suicide Squad is brilliant and it's fun to watch. I could watch that first act over and over every day. But Leto had good things to say. I don't mind his Joker. I'm glad that all the Jokers that we've gotten on either TV or the big screen have been a little bit different from each other. And I honestly felt like that even though his physical appearance was modern, I felt like the way that he acted and his laugh was like Golden Age or, Silver Age Joker or something. Um, Very gangster. Like I said, I did not mind it. I wish I've talked about it before a million times. Wish we would have gotten the Suicide Squad that we were supposed to have gotten with Steppenwolf, with the Parademons, and with, however many, what was the number? Wasn't there a number? Was it 7, 8, 10 minutes, something? So it was 7 minutes of Leto Joker that was definitely cut that, was supposed to be in the movie. Or maybe it was like 10 minutes, something. Anyway, like I said, this is all Warner Brothers that has shot themselves in the foot, not the directors, not the actors. It's Warner Brothers that has done it to themselves, and they need to let this stuff go. You've got some different directors now. It ain't just Zack Snyder, and that's just really a big key, I think, for Warner Brothers is, getting good directors to do these movies and, seeing what works, seeing what fits. Once again, I've said it my entire life. The stories are there. The comic book stories that have been written over the years are as good as any movie story ever told. There's no reason not to use these comic book stories in movies. There's just no reason not to do it. But like I said, a little bit of the DC Extended Universe news involving Birds of Prey and Jared Leto. And like I said, I love that we're getting this extended Bat universe in movies. One of my favorite things. Also, we got a little bit of casting news for Suicide Squad. So the David Dashmotion. So David Dashmotion. Sorry, I know I'm butchering his last name. Has been cast as Polka Dot Man in the DC Extended Universe in the Suicide Squad movie that James Gunn is currently writing and is going to direct. The guy's played on Heroes. He's been on Flash. I think it's Abracadabra. Dwight on Gotham. He's toured around in these universes, being Polka Dot Man. I think the guy's got a good look to him. The guy could have played Plastic Man. The guy's got a good look. We'll see what Polka Dot Man, the Polka Dots. That's kind of his superpowers or whatever, his super villain powers or whatever. This is going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. But there's a little bit of casting news for the Suicide Squad. Patty Jenkins put out just a still picture of Gal Gadot on the set of Wonder Woman 84. Cool picture. I wish we were getting this movie in November and not in June 2020, but or May or whatever it is. I wish they wouldn't have moved it back, but as long as it looks good, the CGI is good. They've got this extra time, extra 6 months to really nail this down. And if you need reshoots, whatever you need to do to tell your story, do it. Because you've got this extra time. This next installment of Wonder Woman. Hopefully it'll be really sweet. Can't wait to watch it. Cannot wait. Like I said, I think Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman couldn't have casted a better Wonder Woman. She's just so adorable, so brilliant. She's bad to the bone. Love her to death. Can't wait for the new Wonder Woman. Cool picture Patty put out. Always appreciate it. Always looking good. And still haven't got to look at Cheetah yet. It's a Legion of Doomer, man. Can't wait to get a look at Cheetah. I kind of put all this together in my DC Extended Universe, and that is the DC Extended or the DC Universe app and TV stuff. It's on. I just want to say that HBO, of course, has done Game of Thrones and Deadwood. I know I'm probably missing other stuff that they've put out there. It's really good. But I'm so afraid of this HBO Watchmen series. I'm so afraid. I'm not afraid of moving forward or moving around in this universe. I'm just afraid of getting it right. Um, Hopefully it will be something done well and something that we can all sink our teeth into and enjoy. So I'm looking forward to it in some ways. In some ways, I'm cringing, man, because it could go either way. It could be really good or really bad. But looking forward to it to try it out, see how it is, and I'll definitely I'll give it a few episodes. I'm not going to watch a couple minutes of it or something and throw it away, but hopefully to grab me and grab everybody right off the bat, and we'll all be locked into it. But that's an interesting thing to look forward to. I'm looking forward to it. Let's. I'm going to move on to comic book corner right now, and going to try to recall Kingdom Come. Brilliant series. Of course, Alex Ross is attached to it, not only as the person that I guess really painted these. When was it ink? Did he paint everything? He's such a I guess he painted everything. But anyway, he was the artist on it. Is it Mark Wells or Mark Waid? Mark Waid and Alex Ross wrote it also. And I'm gonna cover this at some point too, because it's brilliant too. Ross, and did he do it with Grant Morrison? I'll have to look. Gosh, it seems like it is, but Alex Ross did justice those hardcover books. It's probably been out. It's probably 10 years ago or something now. I'll cover those eventually too. But anything you can get that Alex Ross does, his artwork, I love it. He's never done anything that I'm not wowed by. So first of all, going into Kingdom Come, it is a great story. It's a classic book. Everybody loves to read it and talk about it. And like I said, the artwork, being done by Alex Ross just makes it that much better. Basically, the story is, I guess, the traditional type superheroes, or they're kind of in the background, and you've got this, is it like Magog or something? Gosh, is that his name? Anyways, kind of this cat, and he'll kill people. And you've got different sectors, like Batman kind of has his own little sector of people, Wonder Woman her own sector, Superman his own little deal. Luthor has Billy Batson brainwashed in his group. But it seems like that Magog, and gosh, am I, I hope I'm right on that, on his name. But he goes out in the Midwest and he uses parasites, and it contaminates a bunch of food, if I'm not mistaken. And anyway, Superman puts together the Justice League again, and like I said, Batman don't have any part. He don't want any part of it, and he's operating some old sidekicks and second, third generation heroes, the Outsiders. Batman's got his own little deal going, but it all comes down to a head. And gosh, I know Shazam sacrifices his life, and he has to do. He's saying his name like. He's like, Shazam, Shazam, Shazam. And, gosh, I guess does the lightning, maybe it stops it, whatever it does. But anyway, Shazam ends up getting killed in it. And I guess it could have been either him or Superman or something like that. It was kind of seems like it was a kind of him or me kind of thing or something. But Shazam sacrificed his life to save the world. And it kind of put everything, straight again. But if you've never read it, check it out. I'm just skimming through some of this on Comic Corner. I'm just telling you that these are great stories. These are books that I've read and other people's read that they've enjoyed, and that's definitely one of the most popular comic books. It's an Elseworld of DC. There was an Elseworld, and I wish I had it, man. A buddy of mine CJ, he let me borrow it years and years ago. Gosh, it had to be, what, I don't know, 93, 94, 95, something. And, it was like later on, I guess, was it Brainiac had taken over the world, and everybody was a little bit older. I think Flash had his legs broke or something. I don't know. Anyway, they get a league, and it seems like Supergirl's a key piece, but she leads Batman down this vent way in this alien thing, and Batman's got these explosives, and he's telling her, he's like, okay, I want you to fly back out of this vent, to, get out of this ship, like they're in the mothership or whatever. Give me a certain amount of time, you're going to hear something, and you're going to know I'm okay or whatever. But really, Batman he was lying to her, misleading her. Whenever she gets to the end, and I think it seems like she realizes it. As right as it's going down, she's like, "Oh no, Batman sacrificed himself. He misled me." Anyway, Batman blows this thing up. He sacrifices himself, but it puts everything back right in the world. But I just thought that would be a good ending for Batman. Of course, the Dark Knight Returns. He's older and he just lives and he has these kids and whatever. That's an okay ending, and I can dig it. But that Elseworld, ever since I read that Elseworld, I just thought that's the way Batman should go out. Such a good. If anybody knows what that Elseworld is called, put it in the comment section for me, please. I would love to try to find that and have it in my collection. I would love to read it again. It's such a good Elseworld. But going back to Kingdom Come, another great Elseworld, and like I said, that Elseworld is something that is critically acclaimed and people love it. So I encourage you to read Kingdom Come, get your hands on it, get it in paperback from Amazon. You can probably get it for $10 or $15, maybe cheaper used. Grab it, give it a read. And moving on to T's Toys this week, I'm still in the MEGO world. I'm so stuck in the MEGO world right now, it's ridiculous. I did pick up, I forgot I had Bizarro and Green Arrow ordered, and they came in. And somebody has a custom Harlequin MEGO they made that's just so cool. And they got a Catwoman that they made that's so cool. And they dropped the price from like $29.99 or $39.99 to $29.99, I think is what they dropped it to. And anyway, I got a Supergirl, so I had one of them loose. So I've got a few more on the way. I'm stuck, but T's Toys this week. I'm going to cover the Bat Lab, and it was the Bat Van. It was for your MEGO dolls, for the 8-inch dolls. Even though it could have been, for scale, it could have been a little bit bigger, Anyway, so I had like a little winch in the back of it, and so I had like a table and some chairs in it or something, like a lab part. Anyway, the story on the Bat Van and how I got the Bat Van back in the day, whenever I was a kid, a young kid. This would have been in the late 70s. Or I guess it was the late 70s, and 70, had to be 77, 70, 78. Anyway, my parents, my dad was a preacher, and of course, mom and preacher wife, whatever. But we were eating with, a bunch of people at this place called Royal Buffet in Kingsport, Tennessee. And there was a Magic Mart beside of that place. Well, and Royal Buffet, my brother loved that place. Even when we went to church, if Kevin got to choose or we were in the area, we would go to that Royal Buffet. He loved it. But anyway, that night that we were there, everybody was having a good time, Anyway, I lost a tooth while I was there. One popped out of my mouth, or I pulled it out, whatever happened. Well, I remember one of the deacons, he got a big idea, and he said, well, you pulled your tooth out, and he took his hat off. He had a Braves hat on, and he took it off. and he was the gentleman that got me into the Atlanta Braves. But anyway, he took his Braves hat off, and they passed that hat around to however many people up and down, this long table put together for everybody. And so, it must have been $20 or more. I don't know how much I collected. I don't know what the grand total was. But I know it was enough for me and Mom to walk over to the Magic Mark as everything was ending or it was wrapping up. She walked over there with me, and they had that Bat Van for your MEGO dolls. And you daggone right, that's what I spent my money on. I saw that thing, and I saw that thing boxed up, and I was like, this is the winner. This is it. I wish now whenever I go to the dentist and they pull a tooth that everybody take up a collection and help me pay my bill or something, or maybe everybody could send me a couple MEGA dolls or send me a MEGA Van. That maybe it'd make me happy while my gums are hurting. Anyway, so anyway, this MEGA Van, of course, brought me plenty of joy, and they go for about $100, and as much as I'd love to throw down a hundred on one, I can't do it. I just can't do it. It's bad enough that I've bought these MEGA dolls anyway. But anyway, let's go through some of the. I wanted to go through some of the stuff from the Bat Lab. In the front end, I had a faux catcher, which was basically like a mouse trap looking thing that would come off the front. You could like catch it on the front of the box. It's like you're catching a penguin or something on it. But anyway, that was one of the features on it. I told you about the rear winch, and it had the bat grappling hook, the revolving bat platform for the outside spine. The sides open, and like I said, there was a bench seat, steering wheel, roof slides open, so you could reach down in there and you could put the MEGA dolls in there if you wanted to. You got to use your imagination like you do with anything. And nowadays that's lost. It seems like with video games, some kids anyway, not everybody. I don't want to put everybody in a box, but I remember watching movies with Mom and Dad on a Friday, Saturday night. Maybe they rented something for themselves, and I'll go to their room, and man, I would set up my toys into this, positioning of a fight or whatever's going to go down, whatever I had in mind, whether it was G.I. Joes or Batmans or whatever it was, Justice League figures. And whenever I had everything set up where I wanted it, how I thought it should be, then it was time for the fight to go down. And people, however I wanted it to go down, it would. And like I said, you've got to use your imagination a little bit. And I feel like I said, that's lost a little bit nowadays. But anyway, that's all I wanted to cover. I just thought since I'd been on the MEGA thing, and those vans, if I'm not mistaken, unless I'm being tricked by people that have redone stuff, that Bat Van, like I said, I owned it back in the 70s, so I know it's real. But it looked like whenever you looked at it for like $400, somebody had like these 4 vans. Gosh, I don't know. One was like a Teen Titans, the Bat Van, Teen Titans, and there was 2 other ones. I don't know if there was something else, like, was it like a Scooby van or something? Like, I'm not sure. I don't think the other ones had something. Maybe one was like an Avengers van, actually, because they had other things, but it was all that same mold of, it was all that same fan, which was kind of VW looking, I guess. But that's T's Toys. Just wanted to throw that at you. And Titus Titan, he wanted to do. They got the other Shazam pack that he talked about on the Lego Villains game. They did do the second Shazam pack that he talked about, so he just wanted to cover that quickly on this episode. So I'm going to throw it over to Titus Titan now, and he's going to tell us about the new Shazam pack number 2 for DC's Lego Villains game. So let's go to you, Titus.
Hi, I'm Titus Titan, and I'm going to tell you about DC Villains Shazam Pack 2.
Okay, what all does it consist of? How does it start out?
It starts with you, Shazam, and Freddy, if you're playing 2-player, and you're in the tent, and you're right at the start. You're fighting Savannah, and
I think the 7 deadly sins, they were outside on the game, but in the movie they were in that tent. But go ahead.
Like after
they're there.
After you defeat Savannah, it gives you the three people. You get one of the 7 deadly sins.
Well, and whenever I played it with you, it split it. Like you were fighting Savannah in the air, weren't you? Wasn't you? And then I was Freddy fighting Gluttony, I think, or whatever.
But no, I wasn't in the air fighting with him. I was helping you too.
Okay. But he come in on the other one on Envy or something. Remember, like Savannah and Shazam, and like you all fighting in the air, and like you ran into him or something. But anyway, it's never exactly like the movie because it's a game, but it's pretty close. Like of that last fight.
The game wants it to be like different.
And it has Darla and Pedro. Like as you go through that battle that's downloaded, it has all them in it, and you can use them. So do you want to hop on there and let people see? Okay, let's hop on there.
You ready to ride the rest of my awesome story? Right, where was I? Oh yeah! Before I even got a chance to track down Savannah, he brought Freddy back to the foster home. Only I wasn't grown-up, superhero, muscled-up me. But he seriously underestimated us kids. Ha! Batarang in your face! No more leverage for you, Mr. Creepy Power-Stealing Dude!
I think he kind of looks like Captain Boomerang, but he has Batman's Batarang instead of a boomerang. Just 'cause, I guess because he has that blue jacket and that toboggan on.
That actually makes sense.
The Doc and his creepy monsters found us and sent everyone else running. Savannah had us all cornered. Yeah. Plans A, B, C, D, E, F, and G were out. So I had to give away my powers to save the others. Whoosh! Shazam! The old man didn't expect that one. That's right! Dr. Stink Guy had to go up against all 6 of them.
He said Dr. Stink Eye. That's
And
funny.
also, if you see it the first, you'll see him out of his mouth those one of the 7 deadly sins.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty.
I say, yeah, they're all kind of hiding. Yeah, you can use whoever, can't you? That's Darla right there. They're all kind of sitting around the tent there behind those hay bales.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Boom Tube and the Wizard in. That's cool. Because we're in free play. We beat it, so we're in free play.
Yeah, we beat it. That's cool.
That is cool.
We got a trophy for that. Gotta just block these. And then that was cool.
Savannah was gonna be real sorry.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mary Marvel. That will.
Thanks for watching Titus Titans game review. Goodbye.
Alright, and welcome back to Doomsday T on DC. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode. It's good to hear from Titus and to see what they've added on to the DC Villains game. And, always, as I always say, I really appreciate you all watching. Leave me a comment, like and share, subscribe. Pass it on to people that love DC. Let them know, hey, this old country boy from Tennessee just has loved DC his whole life. He's got a little podcast, and he likes to run his mouth as much as he can about DC, and tell him to watch it. I do appreciate it, and you better be good or be good at it, or you're going to get in trouble, you know what I mean? So be good or be at it. Be good or be good at it. This is Doomsday T on DC. See ya.